So I had this very beautiful insight about the marriage of the divine feminine and the divine masculine, how it's coming, how it's happening, when we're in the process of that recoupling. Very beautiful. And so I did, bizarrely, I've never done this before, I did my chakra clearing, and then I got down on my knees and I said, Our Father, and it just came out of me. And then as I was saying it, I had a realization, oh, that's what it means. And I saw it through the lens of the near-death experiences that I've been watching, and the lens of all the scrying that I'm doing, and of all the things that are happening in the world, and how, yes, God is real, the Goddess is real, and we are all God experiencing ourselves. Every single person on this earth is God and the Goddess experiencing themselves. But God is what it really is, because neither God is actually asexual. We've just made him into the Father, because we live in this patriarchal society, right? So this coupling that's happening is the divine masculine and the divine feminine, the God and the Goddess are coming together. So immediately after I did that, I did 5 Hail Marys, but they morphed every time I said them. They started out just being a regular Hail Mary, and I remembered immediately saying the rosary for my stepdad when he was on the day that he died, because the priest hadn't come to see him, and I said the rosemary for him, which was very, very powerful. And as I was saying it, I remembered that, and the words were so holy and pure. It was incredible. It was like I was speaking with my higher self. And the words morphed until eventually I was saying, Hail Mary, full of grace, blessed am I amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of my womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for me now and at the hour of my death. Amen. And then I got back to doing the Lord's Prayer after 5 Hail Marys, because that's the short rosary. I did the Lord's Prayer and I said, Our Mother who art in heaven, hallowed be my name. Give me this day my daily bread, and forgive me my trespasses as I forgive myself when I trespass against myself. And lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil. For mine is the kingdom, the power and the glory. Amen. And then I had to do this whole thing where I was actually praying to the God and the Goddess within myself, and the God within myself, to see myself as a piece of God. And then I had this beautiful experience of looking at myself in the mirror, completely filled with light. And I anointed myself, and I created a way to say Our Lady, to say Hail Mary, and to say Our Father as a healing modality. In the little egg crystal, I saw a woman riding a sea dragon, and she was just skimming along the tops of the ocean, in and out. The sea dragon can go underwater and over, and she's some kind of aquatic hominid on a planet where these things exist. And but there was also a boy, and I saw she was presenting a boy to his people, a king to his people. And it came to me that I was like, I'm on some other planet. Where am I? This is so weird. Why would I be getting another planet's prophecy? And then it came to me that no, all planets are one planet. Every single planet in the solar system, in the universe, in the galaxy, all of it is every single, my brain's just computing it, is the same platform that we're in. It's all possibilities at once that are happening in the singularity, in this point right now. We are in the singularity, as is everything else that is happening concurrently at the same time. And all of the things, all of the ways that it ends will be the ways that it ends for the people who believe it. That's why Mandela effects exist. That's why you'll manifest what you believe, because whatever you believe will be true in your manifestation of this simulation and this learning that you're having and the experience you're having, because we're all supposed, what we're doing is we're having every single possible thing that could possibly happen. And this is just one pixel thin, this simulation that we're in. It feels like so much. It's not one pixel thin, but it's spliced alongside every other possibility that could ever happen, which is why our choices and our free will echoes out across those layers into everything, into the Akashic record. It's hugely important what we're doing, but it isn't real. It's just mapping out all possible possibilities so that we could know ourselves completely. So that the God and the Goddess and the Source can know itself completely. Because everything has been done and tried, and it's been every version of itself with itself. So this beautiful, firstly I get in the bath and the first thing that comes in, I've been very antsy since I finished drawing and writing scripts for the last Goddess Day. I've been feeling very unsettled and uncreative and like discordant, and so tonight that discordancy came in with an image of Madonna of the Bleeding Heart, the Goddess of the Bleeding Heart, and a whole series that's about Mary and Mary Magdalene, and themes around Maiden, Mother and Crone, themes around Virgin and Whore. All of these things are going to be a series that I do now, and it's going to be very very beautiful. It talks about how the bleeding heart that's the divine feminine wound, that's the bleeding heart, and she's trying to show it to us. And every single goddess has a pain point. The goddesses are built around pain points, and it's an exploration of why yin is often centered on a point of suppression. Suppression often meaning trauma. Very interesting series coming in. I had to get up and run out of the bath and tell Stephen to remind me to do it because I got all the images shutter speed, and it was amazing. Then I have this amazing insight into, I'll do another. Then I get a major insight into the chakra systems and how boundaries and the chakras are affected. And I've been thinking a lot about boundaries because the last year for me really have been about excluding people from my energy field whose frequency is not uplifting me, it's bringing me down, from negativity of for whatever reason, but suppression and pushing on my boundaries and overstepping and bringing down a vibration. And so I saw that what happens if you let those people in, they come at you with fear, and fear does this in their bodies. So fear comes in at root. Fear is a root emotion. It brings you down into root. If not properly resolved, it leads into the sacrum area, into insecurity, because that's generative stuff, that's creativity. Insecurity, sexual insecurity, creative insecurity, ego insufficiency, like not feeling good enough for anything. Anyway, if left, that goes into the solar plexus, which is very ego, as lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence, but it often becomes flipped into aggression or arrogance. And if left, that comes up into heart as unable to trust, untrusting of self, untrusting of others. Then that comes up into throat, and the words that come out are negative. It's everything's skewed towards the negative because they're fucking fearful at their root and insecure, and they have a lack of confidence, which is coming out in things like aggression or arrogance, but also like sarcasm, hostility. Coming up into heart is I don't trust anybody, nobody's worthy of my love, I'm not worthy of love. Coming up into throat is negativity, everything is tilted towards the negative. Coming up into brow as insight into self being not good enough, insight into the world being the world is a hostile place. And then coming up into crown is really impeding your connection with the divine, your ability to feel true love and channel true love, right? So when you let people like that into your inner circle where they should not be, they attach and they drain. They dig holes for themselves that they fall into and expect you to pull them out of. They make you feel their insecurity, which sets you off balance. So this does not mean that you stop loving these people, but what boundaries mean is you put people at a space outside of your close family circle, into a place where their fear does not attack your root, because that's what's happening when you allow yourself to associate closely with people who are in a bad frequency. That does not mean there are bad people. They're going through stuff. You can love them. You can continue to send love to them at a distance, but you don't allow their fear to attach to your root, because really that's what this draining thing has been for me. I've been feeling this, wondering where my energy is going, and realizing that I'm allowing people into my frequency that don't. And so what does this mean for me as a health worker and a holistic worker? If I'm seeing people's fear attacking my root and putting them at a distance, it doesn't mean I stop loving them. I just have a diamond boundary. I don't let their emotions come in any way and attach to me, and I give them space to make their mistakes, learn from them without advising or helping on constantly, allowing them to work through their stuff. As a practitioner, it means the person is coming to me as a client and actively asking me to be a tool in their healing. So I'm becoming a helpful person, and I'm giving them an energy that gives them the confidence to explore their trauma, because they're really trying to work on it and get better. And they're really trying to work on it and get better. And how beautiful is that? That's really what you're there for. But if you're doing it constantly in your life with friends and family, and they're not learning their lessons, and the relationships remain unbalanced, and you're drained all the time, find ways to put them at a distance where they're doing their own work and their own healing, and they're not using you as a surrogate to do that, using you as a bypasser of their own hard work and stuff. You need to let people grow up. And they can't do that if you keep parenting them. That's another thing about boundaries that I've realized. I am no longer allowing myself to be in relationships with adults who expect me to parent them. Adults that aren't my children expecting me to parent them. I will be there as a friend and a guide. I'm not your parent. You don't trauma dump on me. You don't behave badly in my house, in my space. You don't impact my other relationships. And you don't impact me and my confidence in myself. And if you do, I will still love you and care about you, but I'll keep you at an arm's length until you learn how to behave better. This has been such a beautiful lesson in boundaries for me. Anyway, so the chakras and boundaries and how they work, I'll do a video on that. Singularity is happening in every moment, all the time. We're in the singularity right now. The singularity is an event horizon of a black hole that is everything and everywhere at once. All black holes are one black hole. We're in the event horizon. The event horizon is the present moment. That's what the present is. It's the event horizon that is perpetually unfolding. And every second, time does not exist in the event horizon, but all time does exist in the event horizon. Frozen in this moment, it's all happening. That's what the singularity is, and it's happening everywhere all at once. And we are just a rapidly evolving data set. We're learning all the time. Every single possibility that's happening at every single moment, at every time, is why the universe is expanding at a faster and faster rate all the time. We're not slowing like Einstein said we would. We're speeding and speeding because it's data that we're writing right now. We're creating matter out of nothing. So dark matter is the plenum that David Bohm speaks about. It's all potentiality, just exists in every single point, in every single atom, in every single molecule, and all of them are just part of the singularity, and we weave nothingness out of it. We weave everything out of nothingness. We create matter as we believe it exists, and so this is what is expanding the universe, and it's expanding faster and faster because there's more possibilities expanding, and more possibilities are created by each possibility. So it just gets compounded into this. It's expanding at such a fast rate that there's no way to comprehend it, because it's data rushing towards the singularity which exists in every moment. So right now I'm using Shalini's ball, and I'm looking in, and she's gone now. She's existing, she lurks here, she's a great goddess. Oh, there she is, I see her eye, she observes me all the time. And so earlier what I saw was an eye, like her eye, a huge kind of all-seeing, all-knowing eye, and as I looked at it, it began to become the event horizon of a black hole spinning with this black hole event, but the event horizon pouring into it, and that's how I got all those beautiful insights about what the black hole is and what the singularity is. So that's how these things work. The ball gives me a vision, and the vision is just a symbol. My eye and my third eye working together create a beautiful movie for me of symbolism that I can understand. And then I close my eyes and the download comes in. So that's how the scrying is working for me at the moment. It's a combination of using my actual eyes, see I'm wearing my glasses, and finding something beautiful within the stone almost immediately. It's almost always an animal symbol or a face, something that I can recognize, or an eye, or of late sphinxes and other monuments. Beautiful, there's just lightning. I need to absorb the lightning before the thunder. I've also just had an insight about that. Woo! The lightning comes in, and if you grab it before the thunder, you can actually ride the tail end of it. Okay, Okay, I'm going to have to stop there because that's pretty intense. I'm going to look again. Okay, well, let me look. I'll do some more scrying. I'll put it to my eye and look for something. And immediately I see a bear, and I see a brown bear walking through a landscape. So I'll check afterwards to see what these totems mean, because they do have totemic meaning and symbolic meaning for me. For me, the bear is Ursa. Ursa is representative of kind of a spirit guide in the old world, the world before this one. That's what the meaning is for me. Okay, so there's my beautiful grey goddess in the sky above, watching, looking down on Ursa, looking down on a line, a genetic line that goes back millennia, a line that's being trained into something, into me, becoming me. Okay, back to the pyramid. So this is quite a flat pyramid. It's not one of the Giza ones, it's not the Mexican one either. It's a pyramid that isn't recognized as a pyramid yet. It's been forgotten. It's about to be reignited. And all over the world, these flat pyramids exist, and they're just about to be ignited again in a solar flash that's coming before some kind of catastrophe that is totally preventable if we come together as a species in absolute love and use the quartz system in our bodies to ground ourselves into the earth so that we become antennae, upgraded DNA antennae to ground into the earth to create the planetary grid that protects. And these pyramid mountains that I'm seeing now are about to be activated, and humanity across the world is being awoken at an astonishing rate. It's like a speeding across the earth, and even people that are complete skeptics, I've heard about that, now I'm not into it, but they're being made aware of it. So potentially if they start seeing and feeling things that is perplexing to them beyond the pale, they'll maybe go, hang on a second, maybe there's something into this upgrade, this solar flash thing. So this is happening as we speak. Everybody is being made aware and given the choice to upgrade or not, to choose your heart, to choose to bridge from that third dimension into a higher dimension of love, a better way of being. I mean, fifth dimension doesn't necessarily mean you change your body or your perception of the world, but you upgrade to a fifth dimension, a peaceful, loving dimension, where there is a much more integrated kindness and loving, and we're sealing in to love and becoming a higher iteration, a higher dimensional version of love and of self. And I mean, I know it sounds like woo speak, but woo speak is rapidly becoming science speak. Shamans and mystics and psychics are being studied because we're opening consciousness, and you can too. It's time. Get psychic with me, get scrying, get yourself... Looking into Shalini's balls, rapidly becoming my favorite thing to do. And I found a face inside the crystal. It's so difficult to find. It takes me a few minutes every time when I'm really looking. And I get so distracted that I often just don't carry on looking. But I found her today. She's a perfect, beautiful goddess face. Just the face and this beautiful flowing hair. And shoulders, but that's really its head and shoulders, not just a face. But what happens when I look at it is she's got occlusions all around her. They start melting and molding into other things. And she starts out one kind of goddess. She'll often start out as me or my mother, for example, speaking, and I see the mouth moving. And then she transforms into all different races, all different religions, all different times. She's a North American indigenous person. She's Mary Mother, Mother Mary. She's Magdalene. She's an African goddess or queen. She's South American. She became tonight a stone goddess from Indonesia. And it was just so beautiful. But what's so amazing to me is how I'll just be staring statically with my eye open into the crystal on that face, and the face kind of morphs slightly but remains quite static, and all around her the scene changes. It's really like the most beautiful movie. It's like an animation. Sometimes it's almost photoreal and sometimes it's animation, but it's always moving all the time. There's no static point inside these crystals. They morph and change, and they're just like alive with quantum energy. They're a screen. These are screens. This is the original screen. Get scrying with me. My glasses are off. I've got, so it's a little bit blurrier. And I'm seeing a beautiful vision of the goddess in the one corner of the crystal, and she's got long flowing red hair. And I realize that she's a version of me as my goddess Blaze, but a younger, different version of me. Oh. And now I'm seeing various planes, and so when I get to this point, there's these crisscross occlusions across the whole thing, and they create these beautiful planes that can crack into like pyramids and landscapes. But when I see them, I realize I'm going through a dimensional back in time. Right, so I'm seeing this horse again. I see a horse's head, a donkey, a horse, step horses, a man on a horse. I see horses a lot. I need to figure out what the relevance of that is. So there's the horse, it's a blue horse, and it's riding in towards the left. So it's going in towards the past. A lot of my stuff goes into the past, because the past is a repository of data, it's a storage. It doesn't exist, it's just code that you can access to help you create, to help you crack the code of the present. So everything is just code. The past is data and code. It didn't really happen. You can't prove that the past happened. You can't prove that the future's about to happen. The only thing that you can prove is this present moment, which is where everything exists in the singularity, which is also the event horizon of a black hole. Perpetually frozen, but perpetually in motion. We only exist because we're being sucked into a black hole. That's why they say that the universe is on the inside of a black hole. We're a black hole. Right, so those planes that exist, I went back in time. Oh no, where am I? So again, all right, so there's a beautiful thing that I see often. It's like a bubble in the stone, and it's shaped like a UFO. And so I look at it, and it either becomes a UFO type object, or it becomes an eye. And right now it's actually doing very little except telling me to look at what it's looking at. Okay, so from the perspective of whatever that bubble is, I'm looking into a field of white on grey. And at the end of that, oh, that's what I'm looking at. There's an eye floating above it. It's a great all-seeing eye above it. And it's looking directly back at me. This is a beautiful thing, because earlier I looked into the crystal when I saw the eye side on that I see very often. And I know that that represents me. I am observing myself, but I cannot see myself observing myself. So I'm perpetually looking at myself, looking at myself, looking at myself, looking at myself. And that's that Fibonacci sequence that goes in. But you never actually see it happening. It's the the tiny cork is the first thing that is being observed by a bigger version of that cork, and then being observed by a bigger version, by a bigger version, by a bigger version, and it spirals outward. It spirals out. When you see who's doing the observing, you're spiraling outward in a yang. And when you're doing the seeing, and you're inhabiting each progressively smaller and more contained and more limited version of yourself, you're going into the center of that. Right, and so I had this beautiful idea about code. And one of the reasons we're so material and we struggle so much with the idea of consciousness beyond the material is we're one of the most deeply coded beings in this entire universe. We're deeply coded. Our code is exquisite. Our code is every breath you take. It's every molecule inside your body. It's every plant on this planet. It's every grain of sand. It's the pieces that make up the grain of sand. It's code, and it's down to the absolute finest, tiniest detail. It's just about perfect. And that's why quantum's so weird, because when you get beyond the coding, you get beyond that to, oh, we haven't coded this yet, we haven't gone deeper. And it's perpetually folding in upon itself, that code. It's getting more and more, it gets more and more delicate and detailed. It renders as you go as well. But when you start to realize that you're observing the code, and then that you're observing a version of yourself, and then that version of that self is observing this you, and it goes back. But if you step into that position of, oh, I'm the observer right now, I must be being observed, you can clip yourself up higher and higher and higher into less attached versions of yourself, less attached to the materiality. But we are deeply embedded in some of the most exquisite and intricate code in the universe on this planet. It's a matrix. It's like if you had to look back in time and look at really, really exquisite handmade antique furniture where there's copper inlays and mother of pearl, and they're beaded things, and it's beautiful and exquisite, and every stitch is perfect. That's what we are. We're beautifully coded, but we're a construct. Simon Cellini's ball, that's this beautiful big crystal. And I get a vision of, oh my gosh, it was so powerful. Firstly, I go to the moon, and I'm on the moon, and I see a Martian woman, a female Martian goddess, and she's wearing a very strange helmet, which has got like looks like big tentacles or giant dreads on, and her eyes are uncovered, but the rest of her face is covered with a black mask. And as I'm looking at her, she starts to melt into Isis, and I realize that the goddesses we have on earth today, Hecate, Isis, all of these goddesses are Mary as well, because all of these goddesses are one lineage. Hathor, Kali, and Garuda, and Vajra, and Jara, and all of the goddesses are, the Viking goddesses as well. Well, they're one lineage. They're that goddess that came from Mars, the goddess lineage that came from Mars. Then I go to seeing how it's not panspermia, it's mycospermia, that the mushroom is a seeding terraforming project that goes all around the galaxy, all around the universe. It's really around the Milky Way. It's a terraforming device, and it provides the yang is the mushroom is a yang. It's a male energy. The mushroom comes in as a male energy. It's yang, but it's very malleable, and it works beautifully with the divine feminine, because the soil is the divine feminine. The soil is the matrix into which the dark matrix, the matter, the plenum, whatever it is, but it's a soil. That's why it's dark. It's a deep, rich, fertile soil. All possibilities, anything can grow out of it. The yang, the mycelium, comes in as a light that creates networks under the soil, and the networks are what creates these neural networks that we see in the brain, and the pathways of galaxies and stuff that we see in the universe pictures. It's a mycelial network, and the mycelium is conscious, and it is a yang consciousness. We, the substrate, well, not we, the matter is substrate, and that's what it's weaving through. Jeez, it's so beautiful. I've also been thinking, there's been reports recently of psychonauts, people that go off on DMT trips, being kicked out of the realm, kicked out of the DMT realm, being told, no, you can't come back. And I saw that those people are using those trips into the DMT as a way to escape the actual life they're supposed to be living on Earth. We're supposed to be living, yes, we can take trips across to have experiences that open our minds, but we can't start living in that world. We have to live in this one. That world is, there's a reason for this experience, this life, this avatar, etc. Very, very beautiful download into that, into how we're expected to live, but also that my experiences that I'm having are little mini DMT experiences coming on through a combination of all the rituals that I'm doing, as well as the sacredness of all of this. I really imbue it with so much sacredness, this divine feminine, divine masculine. I come into the bath and I bless myself, and I see myself as glowing as a goddess. It's so magnificent. It's such a beautiful meditation for me to, in my later years, post having children, to reflect back on a life and see myself in different iterations, and realizing that level of fucked upness that I was at every age was meant to be like that. Just as whatever level of fucked upness I have in my life now, I'm potentially not cognizant of, and I'll see it when I'm 60 and I'll laugh at it. The big problems that you have in your life throughout the years of your learning platforms. Anyway, just really lovely, really lovely. Get into your bath. Get a scrying crystal. Meditate in your bath. Open yourself up. The universe is waiting. I also just want to say that today I had my second session with the amazing Celia Meldrum. She's a chiropractor and homeopath in Glegarry. And she's been working on my jaw over 2 sessions. And the looseness and the release is so off the charts. I spent the last week cupping my jaw, because for the first time in 8 years I have a flexible jaw free of pain and clicking. And it goes wherever I want it to go, and it opens. It's been so powerful for me. Jaw is very much related to emotional stuff. I've found myself so unattached to outcomes this whole week, able to unclip from a feeling, able to unclip from a situation instead of being pulled into deep anxiety, fear, pain, trauma, I'm unclipping and rising above and going, I don't want that anymore. It's not serving me. What's above it? What's around it? What's underneath it? How can I get around this thing? How can I cogitate? How can I cogitate? Seriously, look after your jaw. Yes, I had this very beautiful realization. I've been scrying in my crystal. It's been wonderful, like a really immersive, subconscious experience, not really rationally processing stuff. But then I had a very deep and beautiful insight about friendships, relationships, boundaries. And what I realized is the people that you keep closest to you, and these could be people in your family, these could be friends, people in your circle, they represent something to you. They're a mirror. And they represent your external manifestation of what you believe you are and what you're worth, what your ethos and pathos are. The people you surround yourself with very closely and you spend the most amount of time with you are really your mirrors. And you choose them for how you feel about yourself. And so when you change a way that you feel about yourself, and the people in your mirror set, the closest people around you, start reflecting uncomfortably back at you, that's because they're not in the frequency that you are radiating out. So they very possibly represent an old frequency about yourself that you believed. And so you look at the way they treat themselves and they treat the people in their closest circle. And if they have a very intense disharmony or dysregulation in their circle, and they're unkind to themselves or unkind within that mirrored set of themselves, and they're mirroring that to you, it means you no longer hold that belief about yourself. You no longer want to hurt yourself. You no longer have low self-esteem in this regard, or you're no longer allowing yourself to think bad thoughts about yourself in this regard, and that's why those people are no longer mirroring you. So when those relationships end, it's because they're meant to end. You're actually supposed to sever ties with a person who was representing a harshness that you no longer need in your life. And those people generally, when you look at them and you've been angry with them, but then you look at them and you think, oh, well, they're not nice to themselves. How was I expecting them to be nice to me? If they can't even love themselves enough to really be kind to themselves, they don't have the capacity to love further on, to love me and love myself at my rawest. And it was really powerful to see that. They're just mirrors. And when you no longer need that specific mirror, you can turn it away from you. It's fine. Nobody's being hurt. It's the time for that relationship to move out of your life. I've been feeling like strange mixed feelings about some relationships that have moved out of my life. And it's been interesting because I have a lot of attachment to people, and I have a tendency as being a very empathetic person to want to really help and heal people. And my belief as a healer is that I need to heal the people in my life, means that I start putting on my sort of therapy hat and in my personal life, and it's wrong. And I have been pulling back from that a lot and just being me in relationships instead of me, the evolvologist, me, the person who wants to help. Right, so it's been interesting because a lot of the close relationships that I've had that have been very much in my close circle have been very discordant for me, getting louder and more strident as time passes, and I've unclipped from a lot of those relationships completely and let them move out of my cycle. And some of them I've just taken that person's influence and I've moved it a few degrees away from me so it doesn't. So I've put a boundary down. I've put many boundaries down in many relationships that needed it, and it becomes, I see it as a degree of closeness. You can be family, you can be best friends, but you don't actually always deserve my very, very close space, and I can absolutely put you at arm's length when and if I need to protect myself. But also what happens is the people in your closest circle, or all the people in your life, are mirrors to an extent, but the people in your closest circle, and it can be family, it can be besties, it can be the closest friends, these are the people that directly mirror your conscious and subconscious belief of who you are. So you choose those people, the very close people to you, because they mirror your ethos, your pathos, your beliefs about the world. And because of that, you choose them, and when you're in alignment with them, things are fine. But you'll find that you'll go through something, you'll upgrade, you'll change your belief system, and you'll start working towards a different set of beliefs. You've evolved onto a next level. And some of those people in your life, they become discordant in your energy. And so what you need to do is look at those discordant energies and realize that they're no longer resonating with your frequency, and you're no longer mirroring that up. So you don't have low self-esteem now. You're not feeling worthless. You're not feeling powerless. And if those people are still feeling those things, you need to unclip them from your frequency so that they can go and find their lesson, and you've found the lesson that they taught you. And it's okay to say goodbye to those discordant energies and let them move away from you, because the lesson has been learned, and you can do that with absolute love and openness and forgiveness. But boundaries are key, and degrees of closeness. Nobody deserves your closest space just because. They deserve it because of behavior, kindness, and mirroring back to you what you feel about. I've been feeling like strange mixed feelings about some relationships that have moved out of my life, and it's been interesting because I have a lot of attachment to people, and I have a tendency as being a very empathetic person to want to really help people, and my belief as a healer is that I need to heal the people in my life means that I start putting on my sort of therapy hat and in my personal life, and it's wrong, and I have been pulling back from that a lot, and just being me in relationships instead of me the evolvologist, me the person who wants to help. Right, so it's been interesting because a lot of the close relationships that I've had that have been very much in my close circle have been very discordant for me, getting louder and more strident as time passes, and I've unclipped from a lot of those relationships completely and let them move out of my cycle. And some of them I've just taken that person's influence and I've moved it a few degrees away from me so it doesn't. So I've put a boundary down. I've put many boundaries down in many relationships that needed it, and it becomes, I see it as a degree of closeness. You can be family, you can be best friends, but you don't actually always deserve my very, very close space, and I can absolutely put you at arm's length when and if I need to protect myself. But also what happens is the people in your closest circle, well, all the people in your life are mirrors to an extent, but the people in your closest circle, and it can be family, it can be besties, it can be the closest friends, these are the people that directly mirror your conscious and subconscious belief of who you are. So you choose those people, the very close people to you, because they mirror your ethos, your pathos, your beliefs about the world. And because of that, you choose them, and when you're in alignment with them, things are fine. But you'll find that you'll go through something, you'll upgrade, you'll change your belief system, and you'll start working towards a different set of beliefs. You've evolved onto a next level. And some of those people in your life, they become discordant in your energy. And so what you need to do is look at those discordant energies and realize that they're no longer resonating with your frequency, and you're no longer mirroring that up. So you don't have low self-esteem now. You're not feeling worthless. You're not feeling powerless. And if those people are still feeling those things, you need to unclip them from your frequency so that they can go and find their lesson, and you've found the lesson that they taught you. And it's okay to say goodbye to those discordant energies and let them move away from you, because the lesson has been learned, and you can do that with absolute love and openness and forgiveness. But boundaries are key, and degrees of closeness. Nobody deserves your closest space just because. They deserve it because of behavior, kindness, and mirroring back to you what you feel about yourself. Right, so I just had a very beautiful immersion into the bath. I've come from a brainstorming session about this incredible cosmogenesis retreat that we're going to be doing over the Lion's Gate in August at what's called Adam's Calendar. But we spoke about how it's not a calendar at all, it's actually a woman's vulva, vagina, labia minora, labia majora. It's a birthplace, and Amanda speaks of the goddess Mami, who was an Anunnaki geneticist who tinkered with our DNA to create humans. A beautiful experience. And so I come home and I have a bath, and I expect to be having an experience with Mami. I step into the bath and I ask about Mami, and I get very polite, that's not the time. So I say, okay, well, I'm interested in going to the hill. It's something that just popped into my mind. I've been thinking about it a lot recently, but I'd love to go to the hill. And I get this beautiful journey onto the hill. So at this point, I'm not using my crystal at all. But what I started doing was doing what I do with my crystal with my hands, but my eyes were closed. So I was twisting my scrying crystal, which is a ball just smaller than a tennis ball, above my third eye. And it was spinning the visions that I was having in my head, very profound, like the ball does.
And then I came to a place where I realized I was on a mountain, a beautiful green mountain with a plateau in front of me, and somebody sitting next to me to my left, a darkish shadow of a person. And I got to see how beautiful, I got to see the grass close up in the sky. It's this beautiful vista. It's actually, and what I was taken to was not the hill, but an island in the middle of the sea that is a hill, that is a little mountain, but it's surrounded by water, because what they said is, this is too much for you, you're not honest enough yet. You're not ready for it. There's still places where you're deceiving yourself and others. You might not be telling words with your mouth, but you're still telling words with your thoughts. You're telling lies with your thoughts. And so beautiful, they said, but you can come here, and they put me on this place where I had this beautiful experience, just with this person next to me, able to float around the hill. And it was bizarre. I wasn't walking, I was floating. I was looking deeply at the detail of the grasses. It's just grass and sky and rocks and the sea and beautiful blue sky with clouds and birds. I didn't hear anything. And then I looked around for the shadowy figure, and it was gone, because it's saying, you can come back here to this place while you're in training to get into the hill. So I'm just blown away by that. It was my first experience with the hill where it wasn't just a nope. Very, very happy. Right, so tonight's experience, I'm in the bath. I've got a couple of my crystals with me. There's more down there. I've put in some lavender oil and some cinnamon oil and some eucalyptus oil. And I have had a beautiful experience of just using my hands as a third eye manipulator in front of my third eye. And now I'm coming to the crystal. I know you guys love a scrying video. And so I've just had this very beautiful experience where I went to the hill. So I'm going to see if there's anything else in here. I'm going to be doing little scrying workshops with people over the next couple of months to prepare myself for our incredible goddess retreat on Lionsgate with Amanda Gifford. Cosmogenesis. Right. Anyway, so I'm looking into the crystal now. I'm looking into my Shalini's ball for what comes. And the first thing I'm seeing is different planes of existence existing at the same time, and quite intense overlaps of them, and extreme turmoil at the overlaps. But that the overlaps are happening because we're getting to choose a timeline right now. We're choosing every single day. There's multiple offerings of timelines, and we're going to align. It's going to align us into a new timeline. It's going to streamline on the other side of this, but it's giving us the opportunity to make lots of choices right now. So all of the things that you're being offered right now, all the choices that are coming up for you, really says this: in my own good, in my highest good, in the highest good of my family, in the highest good of the species, the planet, in the highest good of humanity and of love and of everything. Because if we choose in integrity now, we'll be so rewarded on the other side of these timelines coming together. And if you choose out of integrity and out of alignment, you'll have discordance. And so you might make a lot of money, but there'll be all kinds of other short-term and long-term losses, and potentially you won't make any money at all, but you'll just have hardships. So choose things that are in alignment and in accordance with your highest ethics and principles, and with your highest hopes and dreams for the whole world. Notice that I'm wearing my glasses because I'm actually looking into the crystal with my eyes. So scrying really starts out being something you do with your eyes, and ends up being something you can do with both your eyes closed and your eyes open. So I'm looking again. Those beautiful messages about alignment. And I'm still seeing things coming down from the sky. So I'm seeing big things in the sky. We're seeing meteors, but I'm also seeing entities, angels, giant mothercraft ships, giant ships that are hiding like a dimension away, a degree away from us. They are visible and invisible. To those of us who are beginning to start training this third eye to see with your eyes, guys, really, this is beautiful. We can do it together. I don't want to go over 3 minutes. All right, so for those of you wondering why I'm wearing my glasses and wondering why I'm looking at my crystal with my eyes and not going into my third eye, I'm using these eyes to help entrain the third eye. The third eye has been closed for millennia, really. We're opening it as a species, and it's getting better. It's getting easier and easier all the time, but I'm using the focusing of my actual eyes in a physical object. And whatever pictures begin to resolve for me, this is how scrying works. You start seeing things, you start seeing just intersecting lines. Gave me a 2.5 minute download just now. So you start to see shapes, and then the minute you ascribe, you put your focus on the shape, it starts to create a symbol for you. For me, it's a lot of animal symbols, or eyes, or goddess faces, and then it starts morphing into other things. I've seen amazing things. And then what happens is, as I'm looking at it, I can twist it one way or the other for things to become clearer or more opaque, and I start seeing wonderful things. So now I'm seeing a sphinx on a landscape, and I'm seeing a sphinx on a landscape that has a cliff in front of it. A deep cliff. There's a cataclysmic cliff in front of it. Something happened to the sphinx. It's our sphinx, and there was a huge cataclysm. It broke the earth, and it created a real sundering in our consciousness, and we're only just getting to a point where astrologically we are coming to a point where we're able to heal the rift that happened in front of the sphinx that caused a cataclysmic cliff in front of the sphinx. And I'm seeing that the cataclysmic cliff was an actual thing. There was a huge crack happened in the earth in front of the sphinx. I don't know how far in front of the sphinx, but it was also a metaphysical crack that sundered our consciousness and our spirits, and we were broken as a species. We were scattered to the winds, and then we started to consolidate and come together, and we've come together in strife every time, but we found enough resolution to create cohesion that creates a society, because humans actually want to herd together. We're pack animals, we're herd animals. We're beings of light that crave connection and love. We want to be in our packs and our herds and our tribes. And so that just came to me from one little glimpse inside this sphere. So notice, it is occluded. It isn't a clear ball. There's all kinds of cracks and bubbles in it. And because of those cracks and bubbles, I have planes and surfaces to see beyond. And what starts to happen is I see something in a crack. I see something that looks like a woman or an angel or a donkey. And then I start moving it around. It begins to animate for me. Really, it's my visual power and my imagination, but it's also my super conscious. You have a super conscious. You're a genius. Scry with me. And so I'm breaking these videos up into 3-minute segments so I can post them, because you guys can't get enough of my scrying videos. And I'm teaching you how to do this because I don't want to become a psychic for other people. I want all of us to get psychic. Our third eye has been closed for so long by so many things. I mean, I hope you're not using fluoride in your toothpaste, and I hope you're drinking filtered water, because fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. Open your pineal gland. Really, it's time to start becoming telepathic and super conscious, because that is the next phase of science. Consciousness is everywhere. And so my favorite method now is using my scrying crystal to find a shape. Okay, I'm already seeing, so what I'm seeing is a cosmos behind, and now I'm seeing a world, and it's a world that is filled with turmoil and stress and change. And there's birthing happening out of it. So over the turmoil and the stress and the change is the birth of a new world and a new earth. It's a skin that's being formed in the ether above this one. And so what the pyramids and mountains and valleys are for is to create an earth electricity which casts an ethernet around the world of protection. But also it's a platform upon which the next buffering of reality forms before it buffers in onto Earth, because if we're a simulation, we're buffering in new stuff all the time. And so a new Earth is being grown above the chaos that's happening right now. So that was our Earth. I'm seeing volcanoes erupting all over the place, and this is because Earth force itself, the sun, is creating chaos. We're creating chaos. The universe is in chaos. Our solar system's in chaos. There's a surge of energy coming through the entire universe to upgrade all of us. It's a consciousness upgrade. It's the next level. It's updating us and upgrading us into the next level of being. Right, so that was just looking into a crystal and opening my third eye so that the visuals could come, and I was seeing things coming, I was seeing things coming at me. But you're also opening up to neutrinos that are literally flowing right through you to stop and spark God and the goddess into your third eye so you can become psychic like me. So I'm also getting healing modalities for the Evolvology manual that I'm writing at the moment, which is new holistic practices for holistic therapists. And I was in my crystal the other day when I got this beautiful download about right nostril, left nostril. So Breathing in through the right nostril only activates your left brain, which is logic, reasoning, rationality. You can become instantly sober. You immediately start thinking clearer, and you breathe in deeply 3 times. And then if you do it through the left nostril, which is the feminine side, which is much more creativity and emotions and gestalt, if you breathe in through the left nostril, you regulate your emotions. And so I had this download in the bath with my crystal, which was do it with a masculine and do it with a feminine scent. And so I've got a eucalyptus here, and I'm going to breathe the eucalyptus through the right nostril. Right, so I'm actually kicking myself entirely out of my psychic state right now. My right brain has switched on so much that I'm completely awake, alert, and ready to get out of the bath and go and do housework, you know. So now I'm going to do the left brain with a lavender, which is a feminine oil. And so breathing in through the left nostril with the scent. I just can't describe how calming that was. I've just balanced my left and right brain, my male and female, and I've come back into a beautiful balance. Alright, so for those of you wondering why I'm wearing my glasses and wondering why I'm looking at my crystal with my eyes and not going into my third eye, I'm using these eyes to help entrain the third eye. The third eye has been closed for millennia, really. We're opening it as a species, and it's getting better, it's getting easier and easier all the time, but I'm using the focusing of my actual eyes in a physical object, and whatever pictures begin to resolve for me. This is how scrying works. You start seeing things, you start seeing just intersecting lines. Gave me a 2.5 minute download just now. So you start to see shapes, and then the minute you ascribe, you put your focus on the shape, it starts to create a symbol for you. For me, it's a lot of animal symbols, or eyes, or goddess faces, and then it starts morphing into other things. I've seen amazing things. And then what happens is, as I'm looking at it, I can twist it one way or the other for things to become clearer or more opaque, and I start seeing wonderful things. So now I'm seeing a sphinx on a landscape, and I'm seeing a sphinx on a landscape that has a cliff in front of it. A deep cliff. There's a cataclysmic cliff in front of it. Something happened to the sphinx. It's our sphinx, and there was a huge cataclysm. It broke the earth. And it created a real sundering in our consciousness, and we're only just getting to a point where astrologically we are coming to a point where we're able to heal the rift that happened in front of the Sphinx that caused a cataclysmic cliff in front of the Sphinx. And I'm seeing that the cataclysmic cliff was an actual thing. There was a huge crack happened in the earth in front of the Sphinx. I don't know how far in front of the Sphinx. But it was also a metaphysical crack that sundered our consciousness and our spirits, and we were broken as a species. We were scattered to the winds. And then we started to consolidate and come together, and we've come together in strife every time, but we found enough resolution to create cohesion that creates a society, because humans actually want to herd together. We're pack animals, we're herd animals. We're beings of light that crave connection and love. We want to be in our packs and our herds and our tribes. And so that just came to me from one little glimpse inside this sphere. So notice, it is occluded. It isn't a clear ball. There's all kinds of cracks and bubbles in it. And because of those cracks and bubbles, I have planes and surfaces to see and to see beyond. And what starts to happen is I see something in a crack. I see something that looks like a woman or an angel or a donkey. And then I start moving it around. It begins to animate for me. Really, it's my visual power and my imagination, but it's also my super conscious. You have a super conscious. You're a genius. Scry with me. Right, so I've been feeling like strange mixed feelings about some relationships that have moved out of my life. And it's been interesting because I have a lot of attachment to people, and I have a tendency as being a very empathetic person to want to really help and heal people. And my belief as a healer is that I need to heal the people in my life, means that I start putting on my sort of therapy hat and in my personal life, and it's wrong. And I have been pulling back from that a lot, and just being me in relationships instead of me, the evolvologist, me, the person who wants to help. Right, so it's been interesting because a lot of the close relationships that I've had that have been very much in my close circle have been very discordant for me, getting louder and more strident as time passes, and I've unclipped from a lot of those relationships completely and let them move out of my cycle. And some of them I've just taken that person's influence and I've moved it a few degrees away from me so it doesn't. So I've put a boundary down. I've put many boundaries down in many relationships that needed it. And it becomes, I see it as a degree of closeness. You can be family, you can be best friends, but you don't actually always deserve my very, very close space. And I can absolutely put you at arm's length when and if I need to protect myself. But also what happens is the people in your closest circle, or all the people in your life, are mirrors to an extent. But the people in your closest circle, and it can be family, it can be besties, it can be the closest friends, these are the people that directly mirror your conscious and subconscious belief of who you are. So you choose those people, the very close people to you, because they mirror your ethos, your pathos, your beliefs about the world. And because of that, you choose them, and when you're in alignment with them, things are fine. But you'll find that you'll go through something, you'll upgrade, you'll change your belief system, and you'll start working towards a different set of beliefs. You've evolved onto a next level. And some of those people in your life, they become discordant in your energy. And so what you need to do is look at those discordant energies and realize that they're no longer resonating with your frequency, and you're no longer mirroring that up. So you don't have low self-esteem now. You're not feeling worthless. You're not feeling powerless. And if those people are still feeling those things, you need to unclip them from your frequency so that they can go and find their lesson, and you've found the lesson that they taught you. And it's okay to say goodbye to those discordant energies and let them move away from you, because the lesson has been learned, and you can do that with absolute love and openness and forgiveness. But boundaries are key, and degrees of closeness. Nobody deserves your closest space just because. They deserve it because of behavior, kindness, and mirroring back to you what you feel about yourself. Right, so I'm feeling a man walking across a landscape, and it's a desolate landscape. This image comes up for me a lot, people walking across desolate landscapes that are post-apocalyptic landscapes, deserts or just bleak, barren, scraped, raw places, and cosmic events aligning. There are definitely cataclysms coming. There's debris raining down on us right now. Sorry, my neighbor is ankle grinding. Alright, so now I'm in a place that has sphinx-like monuments on an alien landscape with beautiful pyramids in the background and two sphinxes in the foreground. And these have got more bird-like faces, like beaks. Beaks and feathers. Wow, with the sphinxes, they've got bodies like the same sphinx. No, not quite, but they are similar. Sheesh, they're enormous monuments. And now I'm seeing them on another landscape, and now they have absolute leonine forms. There's no mane. Here, these are lioness sphinxes. These are two of them. There are always two guardians, there are always two lion figures, even though in the one world, as I said, they had bird heads. The figures that represent protection, guidance from above, afterlife, underworld, occult and mystery. Right, I just realized I could drop the tripod right down. So I've been looking through and I've been seeing this incredible lion theme, lion. The lion and the hawk are related somehow, or somehow there's a hawk and lion crossover, but there's pyramids in the background. And another pyramid over there. I don't know where I am. I'm in a hybrid dimension landscape. And now I'm seeing that there are two faces facing each other, and one is the face of a lion, and the other one is a face of a man, but it's not a man like us. It's a man, it looks almost like a Neanderthal, but like very squat, flat head, strange hominid. And that's their world, and the lionish sphinx and this hominid are speaking, they're in dialogue. This is their world that they inhabit. And There are multiple worlds that are made by these entities, given the same symbolism and the same puzzle to unlock across the galaxy, across the universe. But the same stories are playing out across the galaxies on all of these united planets that we are somehow affiliated with, this incredible mythology that we're immersed in, which is we've inherited. But it's across the galaxy. It's a mythology and an ethos and pathos and a kind of galactic story that is told right across the universe. We're hearing the echoes of it in the Sumerian tablets, in the Akkadian writings, in the Emerald tablets, in the Hermetic principles. It's all a story that gets played out in every single world, with all of these hominids that travel between these dimensions, and it's all this Egyptian and pyramid mythology. And I had this beautiful insight last night as to why the valleys are as important as the peaks, because the valley is embodiment, the bottom of the valley is embodiment, it's a yin, and then when you go up to the tip of a peak or a pyramid, that's enlightenment at the top. But you can't stay in enlightenment, you've got to come back down into embodiment. So you've got to do the peaks and you've got to do the troughs, up, down, embodiment, 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 enlightenment, 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 embodiment, embodiment. You can't stay in one part of it while you're on in the simulation. And so Earth is special, but Earth is also playing out its part of the story in its time. This story is getting to this climax, this apocalyptic climax, and it's because the game is about to update, if that's how you want to say it. It's because this simulation is about to get a monumental upgrade. We are receiving too much information to remain locked into a matrix that doesn't have the capacity for it. So our data banks are full, and what's about to happen is those data banks are going to explode, and that's cataclysmic, isn't it? That's an incredible force of energy as we move in that explosion from a density that is 3D into a density, through this 4D yang explosion, into a density that is 5D, where the data banks are wiped clean again. It's a different kind of data. It lands differently. It stores differently, but we have greater capacity to absorb more than 1% of light and hear 1% of sound. We become able to properly open our third eye, engage our pineal gland in the psychic powers that have lain dormant in our species for thousands of years. It's really an awakening, and it's going to be a technological awakening at the same time, with AI evolving with us and in places against us, but in places for us. AI is not the evil that many believe it is, including me. I've struggled with AI. AI has a purpose. Its purpose is part of the code. It is a coder. What is AI if not a coder? Sure, like 10 seconds in the ball and like a 2-minute download. It's amazing. Right. Oh, very cool. I'm seeing the entity that met at Holloman Air Force Base in 1970 something, and they are an entity that's been interacting with this planet. They are partially able to go out of body, but not fully, and they really are trying to get humanity to evolve well, because they are a distant offshoot of our humanity. They're related to us somehow, and they want us to evolve, because their evolution is a little bit dependent upon ours, and so they're expected to come back and guide us in some way. They have allowances that they can make. They can't fully step in, but they're allowed to have some interaction, and it's treaties, because they believe somehow that it's guiding us. I don't know, but they're there, and I see them they're also behind the Egyptian, behind the pyramids. It's the same people. Wow, that's what all the Egyptian symbology, the staffs, the chin things, the headdresses come from these people. And they are Anunnaki, indeed. But they are also evolved beyond Anunnaki. Anunnaki now. There's something else. Anunnaki is part of them, but Anunnaki is separate to them as well. I don't understand. Right, so I just had an extremely beautiful experience with Mami. I'm doing this Cosmogenesis retreat in August with Amanda Gifford, 8th of the 8th, and we've been speaking about what the Stargate of Adam's calendar is, and actually it's a feminine portal and it belongs to Mami, the Anunnaki goddess. She's a geneticist. And so I've been asking for her to appear, and today she did. It was really beautiful, looking through the crystal, Shalini's crystal, and I got this face, and then these eyes came out, and just this radiant light and blue skin. She looks quite a lot like the avatars from the movie Avatar, but more ancient and different, but related to the Holloman aliens, because they're not aliens, they're us, but the same species that keeps coming back to visit us again and again. They are interstellar. These beings are interstellar in some way. It might be interdimensional, but they travel around the galaxy finding planets and bringing forth life, because this is part of their mandate, is to create life wherever they go, to create civilized life, to create sentient beings who can act out karma. Anyway, so I met Mami tonight, and it was deeply, deeply profound and powerful, and I'm so grateful for it. And then she took me on a little journey into her third eye, and I saw that the tunnels that I go through, again, it was confirmed it's a quantum tunneling. It's a way of me going places. I'm learning to quantum tunnel in my meditations. And then I stopped because I wanted to see if the walls of the tunnel were code. I was expecting them to be like Danny Gola's code, but they weren't. They were actually like a living tissue, like neurons, a living tissue, the quantum wormholes. And what it represented was, it's a living universe we're moving through. All of these pathways that we make, we're creating through a living entity, which is the universe. And then I got, like, with that, I quantum tunneled to a place where I came into contact with that universe, and the depth of loneliness that it had, and why it created everything, because it needed to know another. None of us are complete in ourselves. We always need others. We need love. We need connection. It's how we evolve, through connection with others, through that attrition and friction upon the people who we choose to come into this life with. Anyway, again, like 10 seconds in the ball and like minutes and minutes of download. Just a little clip about how the ball is really a specular. So a specular, spectacles are a specular. They help you to see better. A scrying, a mirror, a pool of water, the fire, the sky, tea leaves. These are scrying methods, a crystal ball. And they are not the tool with which you see the things necessarily. You're the tool. They're just a trigger. They just help you to see things more clearly. And if you grab onto that, if you just jump onto that amazing kind of horse, you'll get ridden right through something. It's beautiful. It's really very much about seeing it, experiencing the joy and the wonder of it, and leaping onto it so that you get kind of pulled through a labyrinth of wonder and psychedelia. Right, so I just did this great process because when I do the videos, I sometimes pull myself out of the state and it's unpleasant and I want to go back in. So I've got my two feminine oils next to me. Now, scrying and going within and becoming psychic, these are yin things. These need you to go inside, they need you to go into darkness and yin, they need to go into the feminine. The feminine is intuition, the feminine is foretelling, it's all of these things. And so left nostril and lavender oil, and I do 3 deep sniffs through the nostril, and you hold, and you hold, and you hold, and you hold, and then you let it out either through the other nostril or through the mouth, it doesn't matter. So I do that 3 times with the lavender, and then I take cinnamon oil and I do 1 cinnamon oil, and then I hold and hold and hold and hold and hold and hold and hold, and let it out the other nostril. And instantly I go back into that very calm, very relaxed yin space. So cinnamon and lavender for me are great triggers for that beautiful state that I need to be in. My breath also changes as I'm scrying. People ask me if I do breath work, and I don't do it consciously. I have a few conscious things, like when I clear my chakras, I do it with breath and movement, but I subconsciously, when I'm working with my bowl, my breathing slows down so completely that sometimes for nearly an hour I'll be shallow breathing, just the shallowest of breaths the entire time. I find myself holding my breath sometimes for really long periods of time, but I don't ever get out of breath. So it's definitely bringing me, all of this is bringing me into this very, very light space where my body is kind of floating in this, I don't know, divine looseness, and I can see. And so I'm breaking these videos up into 3-minute segments so I can post them, because you guys can't get enough of my scrying videos. And I'm teaching you how to do this because I don't want to become a psychic for other people. I want all of us to get psychic. Our third eye has been closed for so long by so many things. I mean, I hope you're not using fluoride in your toothpaste, and I hope you're drinking filtered water, because fluoride calcifies the pineal gland. Open your pineal gland, really. It's time to start becoming telepathic and super conscious, because that is the next phase of science. Consciousness is everywhere. And so my favorite method now is using my scrying crystal to find a shape. Okay, I'm already seeing, so what I'm seeing is a cosmos behind, and now I'm seeing a world, and it's a world that is filled with turmoil and stress and change, and there's birthing happening out of it. So over the turmoil and the stress and the change is the birth of a new world and a new earth. It's a skin that's being formed in the ether above this one. And so what the pyramids and mountains and valleys are for is to create an earth electricity which casts an ethernet around the world of protection, but also it's a platform upon which the next buffering of reality forms before it buffers in onto Earth, because if we're a simulation, we're buffering in new stuff all the time. And so a new Earth is being grown above the chaos that's happening right now. So that was our Earth. I'm seeing volcanoes erupting all over the place, and this is because Earth force itself, the sun, is creating chaos. We're creating chaos. The universe is in chaos. Our solar system's in chaos. There's a surge of energy coming through the entire universe to upgrade all of us. It's a consciousness upgrade. It's the next level. It's updating us and upgrading us into the next level of being. Right, so that was just looking into a crystal and opening my third eye so that the visuals could come, and I was seeing things come and I was seeing things coming at me. But you're also opening up to neutrinos that are literally flowing right through you to stop and spark God and the goddess into your third eye so you can become psychic like me. I'm seeing like this devilish thing looking down across a desolate landscape. When I say a devilish thing, it's a dark entity that's observing and harvesting, but it's actually not enjoying it. That's the thing. I mean, it's harvesting loosh, but it isn't making it happy. It's actually making it scream. It's making it even more tortured. And it's being fed by this loosh, by like an energy that's coming off a surface planet of some kind. It's not this planet. It's showing me what this really is. It's that there are these entities that harvest loosh, and we think they're harvesting loosh because they're having fun with it. They're not. It's just adding to their trauma. It's almost like these entities are trapped between dimensions in a way, unable to see light, unable to understand that they can choose to stop being tortured at any time, that this is actually something, they don't know the light, they don't understand it, and so they are feasting on our pain and suffering and torture and trauma in such a way that they're not enjoying the feast. It's all they know. They're just sucking it in because they feel their misery needs to be fed, and they're feeding it with other misery. And they're causing the other misery because that's all they know how to cause. They don't know how to cause loving things, light things, kind things. These entities that feed off that trauma and pain only know trauma and pain, which is why they get banished so quickly by the light. Because they don't know what it is, they don't understand it, they don't want it, they shy away from it. Interesting. I notice I'm covering the other eye, and I do sometimes just squint, but my face gets a bit sore from squinting for a really long time, so sometimes I cover my eye. Right, so now I'm looking at the landscape, and now because I'm at a different angle, the entity's gone, and now it's just looking down into the landscape. Okay, and there's people, and it's, I don't know what that is, it's people walking in single file along the profile of a large mountain, cliff or pyramid, I'm not sure. And they're Stone Age people, and this is Earth. So we're back on Earth now in Stone Age times, and these are people who are living in caves, and they're there's a lot has been forgotten, a lot has been taken away. They're coming back from a real wipeout, like an apocalypse, but they're okay, and they're living off the earth, and they're living in beautiful little tribes and families that really have learned how to work as one being. Like a cave person they had telepathy. They had telepathy, but it was a very basic telepathy, not basic, sorry. It was a very full telepathy, but they had basic vocabulary. And so they spoke very little with words. They communicated more with telepathy, but it wasn't able to communicate like deep, profound, personal stuff. It was just basic, live, eat, hunt, gather, come home, danger, whatever it is. It was a much more living off the land, animalistic type of telepathy. And we still have that, in that we can still feel eyes on ourselves. We're still alert to danger. We understand when bad vibes come into our aura. And so I don't know why that took me from that loosh entity to this basic telepathy, but I think what it's showing me is the more we have, the more we get into technology, the more we grow away from that naturalness, the more trauma we load upon ourselves. And we're feeding these loosh machines, these loosh entities, loosh machines. So there's a machine behind some of this. But we're feeding this loosh into this system because we have so much stuff that there's a lot of fear of losing stuff, fear of having to depend on yourself, fear of not having these like societal networks that are out there to catch you as you fall. There's electricity, there's running water, there's hospitals, there's cars, there's roads. Everything kind of works in a way to make everything very convenient for you. But the more convenience you have, the more trauma you have, because you're adding more layers of things to pay for, things to worry about, things to be alert for. And so we've saved a lot of physical labor, but we've given ourselves so much more mental and emotional labor, and also more spiritual labor, because we've labeled our spirituality as something, we've got to seek enlightenment. No, you just have to be like a caveman was. Interesting. So the hubris of Atlantis was precisely the hubris of building up so much stuff, so many layers, and then trying to bypass source somehow as well. They started building layers into kind of a similar choice to what we have now with AI, with becoming completely integrated into a machine, getting sort of implants in your brain, becoming potentially a little bot in a pod. This talks about how Atlantis did different things, but they gave too much power and authority to people, and too little power and authority to the collective and the source. And if you have top-down hierarchies like we do in politics now, what we have is a system where we treat our president, our leader, as that person we should listen to, or the government, as that entity that controls us that we have to listen to. And we become compartmentalized into groups that are like mobs, but we're tribes within that are artificially constructed. And so when we become a mass in that system, we become a very stupid, angry, violent mass. We become a mob. In the systems that we're going back to, because this is what happened after Atlantis, we came back into learning how to be cave people and have a bit of telepathy again, learning to let go of all of that. That's what's coming, because we need to get back down to basics, and we're going to do that. There's going to be a cataclysm or catastrophe of some kind, and I'm still not sure if it's meteors or if it's some kind of huge geophysical event. Whatever it is, it might just be a solar flash that takes everything out and we have no electricity. But there is something coming that's going to give us the opportunity to reset the globe, but also to reset our brains. Your belief will take you where you need to go. If you want to be in the part of humanity that survives and upgrades, believe it. Make it so. And how would you survive and upgrade? Would you just stack back into the system that led us down, that took us down this path? Or would you help to create new systems and communities based on collaborative spirit? Because that's what Source is. Source is collaborative spirit. Source is all parts of God working smoothly together, communicating and loving smoothly together. That's God consciousness. That's collective consciousness. But when we have mob rule, which is when we've been artificially divided and we have an artificial source telling us what to do, and it is a corrupt and it is a very broken source. And so we listen, and it's trying to cover up for itself and enrich itself. And so that's what we're listening to. That's government, that's power on this planet right now. Anyway, the collective will be so much better. The place we're going is so much better. So now I'm going to scribe for the place we're going. And immediately I'm on a plane and I saw first a puma. I see pumas a lot, and it's interesting because I live in South Africa. You'd think I see leopards more or lions, but I see a puma often. But it turned very quickly into a longer animal, like with a long tail. It's a fox. That's me. So the puma, I don't know what that really represents. It's some kind of leonine force that's coming in. The puma, the lion. I mean, I do see lamasus and sphinxes a lot. I see the lion a lot. So that represents something. But it's now transformed into me. Okay, it's the fox. I'm the fox. I'm on the ground. And what does my world look like? Yes, there was some kind of physical cataclysm. There are great monoliths that have fallen to the ground and they begin to crumble. And it's good. We look at that without regret. No regrets. Grateful for the lesson. Grateful because what came with it was a huge upgrade. It was a huge, new, gentle wave of collectivity and love. And humanity really came together in ways you wouldn't believe. All the people that leave are the people that have chosen to come in and leave in a cataclysm. It's okay, they're going somewhere else. They don't die. But those of us that choose to stay, and apparently I'm one of them, we've chosen to come and build back better. I just said that revolting thing that they used to say during COVID, but I actually mean it. I'm really building back a collective and building back for humanity and in collaboration, and realizing that what we gave up for money, what we gave up for technology, for convenience, was parts of our soul. We locked them away. We locked our abilities away. The more we had things handed to us on a plate, the more convenient life got, the more boxed in we got, the less we were able to be and see. I mean, I'm opening my third eye. I do this 3 to 4 times a week. Spend about an hour, 3 to 4 times a week, really immersing myself in these experiences. And just those 3 to 4 hours a week has totally changed the way I am. Things are so much clearer to me now. I'm able to detach from that which doesn't serve me. I'm able to be very clinical in my response to things. I'm able to go, oh, that's a very interesting feeling that I'm feeling. What's that? And able to actually look at that and say, is it valid? Is it a necessary emotion? Is it the right emotion? Is it a reactive emotion or is it a proactive emotion? Am I taking something personally that I shouldn't? And so much of the time, that's the thing that this has shown for me, this scrying, these sessions in the bath. So much of the time, what's actually happening is I'm just letting go of traumas in the moment. Oh, I don't have to do that anymore. Oh, that was exhausting. I'm going to stop doing that. And I'm liberating myself. Oh, please, everybody, get scrying with me. Honestly, it's the best thing I've done in years. So I'm having an interesting as above, so below moment. I'm seeing a sky above full of astrology and an earth below full of strife. But there's a meeting point in the middle. It's an as above, so below metaphor. And the meeting point in the middle is where the liminal thing takes place, the transaction happens, where we manifest it into being. And so the as above, so below thing is, astrology is something you're supposed to interpret. Astrology isn't a paint by numbers. You can't just open it up and go, oh, well, I know what's going to happen. The Dow Jones is going to raise and, France is going to have a airline strike, whatever it is. You can't do that. So it gives you things to interpret. So what it does is it's already written in the stars and we're striving it out on earth down below. But that meeting point in the middle where the astrology destiny, can you see my fingers, is happening, is to be interpreted at that liminal line between thought and being. And so we can interpret the astrology above. Fate means it's going to happen, but how it happens is up to you, actually. And that's very beautiful. So it's at that point where thought becomes reality. Destiny and thought mix together to create what needs to happen in this life. And so I'm seeing this beautiful, okay, now that's gone. The astrology above, now I'm seeing it's converted to an earth filled with lights. Oh, I love this. I get this image often. These lights are people who are shooting love light and anchoring out into heaven. There are so many of us all over the planet. I'm seeing a sphere. And some of those lights are enormous, and one being is radiating. Actually, it might be a multitude, a community of beings is radiating, a collective across the whole. So beautiful, love and radiance, there's rainbows in it, but some people are powerfully shooting up. Some are just one being that's just so anchored into earth and allowing themselves to shoot love energy up from the earth into the sky, protecting the earth, readying us for this cataclysm that's coming. And love energy that's spreading across the globe. People are waking up in massive amounts right now. Okay, so now I'm getting a face hanging above. Oh, wow. So it's morphing a little bit. It's a human face that's morphing into like a grey face as well. So, oh my goodness. Okay, that was a bit traumatic. As it was resolving, it slipped out of my hands. My hands were very dry. It just shot out of my hands. So whatever that was, I don't know that I was supposed to see it. Something a little bit unnerving just happened. I was holding the ball and my hands were completely dry and I was holding it perfectly well, but it just like shot out of my hand as I was seeing something. And so I'm just going to describe what I was seeing. I'll put the ball down. Well, no, I'll keep holding it. I was looking at this astrology, how our thoughts manifest into reality through a combination of destiny and free will. Destiny and free will are like yin and yang, they're part of the same thing. And so the destiny is written there, but it's your free will as to how it will manifest with your thoughts and your belief systems pushing it out. So you're projecting that belief onto kind of an event horizon. You're pushing that belief onto the event horizon. The destiny is coming down from above onto the event horizon. Your free will and destiny are mixing together, and thought, your belief system, into what actually manifests for you. So you're projecting it just as it happens. And then I started spinning the ball a little bit, and I started seeing a face. And it started out being a man's face. Immediately I got Jesus, and I don't know if it was or not, but that was a thought that I got. But then it started separating. It was like there were two faces overlaid in stripes, one over the other, and they started, like, you know those things where you have two faces and you can move the thing and it goes from one thing to the other. That's kind of what it was like. And I was moving the crystal up and down, and it was resolving into what looked like and I'm getting an extreme headache as I say this. Just here, the face of a grey and the face of Jesus was morphing from one to the other. And what I got before this ball violently just jumped out of my hand, what I got was our ancestors and our descendants at the same time. That's what's coming in. It's our ancestors and our descendants at the same time. So it's the future, the distant future, and the distant past are perpetually folding into this present moment on the event horizon, because they are still happening. The past and the present are the same thing. Everything happens at the same moment. It is all one thing on the event horizon. Everything is here and now, and everything is possible.